Please like, comment, and subscribe to help grow my channel. Our story starts with our protagonist kneeling in the midst of dead bodies after a horrifying and bloody battle. With dead bodies scattered all over the place, our protagonist is in a daze, trying to process what just happened. Before he's done with his processing, he hears a dark, gloomy voice coming from the giant saying, "Ahayut failed to think there was a human this strong." "You fucker, you're still alive," the protagonist shouted, thinking the giant was already dead. This was the giant that appeared in the Empire 20 days ago. It was the last of the 3 giants that appeared and brought about distraction without any known reason. Our protagonist was frustrated, knowing that the giant was still alive and that the Empire's land had become a graveyard all because of it. As the protagonist was talking, the giant interrupted him, saying not to worry, that the end is coming soon. The protagonist mockingly agreed, telling the giant that he would be joining his friends soon. "Friends?" the giant asked. The protagonist then went on to explain that he was not the first one to appear. The first one was burnt to a crisp by a dragon. The second one was sealed by a wizard, and now he was next to join them. The giant responded, saying even if that was so, all the heroes who won equally died, and he could see that the protagonist was reaching his limit, and after his death, there won't be any other strong human left to oppose them. "Stop sprouting nonsense." The protagonist told the faint, but the giant insisted, telling the protagonist, if only had he realized his talents earlier, he would have been a huge obstacle to deal with. The protagonist agreed, saying that he had lived a messed up life and that he didn't have to be reminded. The giant said that he was still an impressive human and should be proud of his accomplishments. However, in the end, your world will end, vanish, buried by the starlight. Just as he finished talking, the protagonist had enough of his barking and slashed his pussy head off clean. "Sorry, I mean his head off." The giant's head fell to the ground with a loud thud. The scene then shifts to the protagonist having flashbacks of his life, the good times he had with his friends. These scenes popped up in his head as he was looking at the dead bodies of his friends, thinking to himself why they never run away instead of staying and fighting till death. As the protagonist was in deep thought, he heard a voice coming from the other side. To hear another person's voice, he ran to see who it was. The voice said that she was injured and couldn't move. Our protagonist followed the voice, only to find that it was the general who was still alive. He was happy to find the general, though she lost an arm in the midst of battle. "General Adation, you look like shit." The protagonist jokingly said, "A general shouldn't be looking like that." The general then asked the protagonist Ronin if the giant was dead, with a serious expression on her face. Ronin then confirmed, "That's the giant was dead, and he left the body no so far away." From this news, the general shed a tear of relief, and from the bottom of her ass, from the bottom of her heart, thanked the corporal Ronin. As Ronin heard this, with a slight smile, he wanted to ask a favor from the general. Then general asked what the favor was, and Ronin replied that it was for his friends to have proper gravesite. The general then asked why he couldn't do it himself. Ronin responded, saying that he was dying and wouldn't manage. The general then told him that the search party would come as soon as the rain stopped. The general then asked that he would do if he survives. Ronin looked to the sky and said that he would attend the academy.
Adeshan was shocked and asked why the academy.
Ronin said that it was his late sister's wish, but it was okay since he was going to meet her. The general insisted, saying the search party would be there soon as they were talking. It stopped raining all of a sudden. Ronin and the general were both shocked. Right before they could come to their senses, they felt a strong evil aura coming from the sky. As they both looked up, they saw more giants appear from nowhere. Ronin shouted, "Where the hell are they coming from?" as Ronin was readying himself for battle. And Daishan phases out and started asking herself why she failed even for the... Here, we then find out that Daishan was a regressor and had regressed 3 times already, and was only remaining with one more chance as she was in a daydream. Ronin shouted her name and asked her to prepare for battle.
The general came back to her senses and asked Ronin if he was still going to fight.
Ronin responded, saying he will fight until he dies.
At this moment, Adeshan looked at Ronin with different eyes, acknowledging that he was the reason that even reached that far. Then the general then called Ronin Lend into what seemingly looked like a kiss. But in reality, she was passing on something to him soon after she whispered in his ear to activate the charm.
Ronin pulled away from the general and asked what she had put in his mouth, But instead, she asked that if they should meet, he should tell her to be a tailor instead.
Ronin was lost, not knowing what was happening before he could realize the giant launched an attack that caused an explosion. The scene then shifts to Ronin, waking up, shouting the general's name as he opens his eyes. He realizes that he's back in his hometown, asking himself if he really returned to the past. Thank you for watching till the end.
Please like, comment, and subscribe.
For part 2, today's goal is 10 likes.